Well, it is March for Delmarva Gardens, and with me we have Jay Martin, who is a wonderful gardener right here, and I'm Jenny Rosencrantz with the University of Maryland Extension. And we are going to show you guys how Jay grows, but also how you can go ahead and get a small garden growing yourself. So we're going to share some really cool ways on making containers, what type of pots you can use, how to plant the seeds, and we'll actually even show how you can go and divide some of the seeds. So join us for Delmarva Gardens coming up next right here on Pack 14. Some of the stuff I think I've shared over the years. This is a little peat pot, and inside is a type of soil that is, actually it's not soil, it's peat moss and possibly a few other things, and it's good for seeds, so it's very, very fine. You'd go ahead and soak this and put the seed right there in the very top. Easy peasy to do. This one right here is the same type of thing as you can see the hole, so you can go ahead and dump the little seed in there. And if you're using something like a pea seed, plop, there it goes, and you can see that you've done it. This one right here has been soaking a while, and this is what it looked like when I first got it. So it's very, very thin, very flat. You can see where the bottom is. You can see where the top is. And when it gets swollen up with water, you can see where the bottom is and the top is. And what's nice about this is that this little casing kind of holds the potting soil together, so it's easy for you to move, to take it out into the garden, to plant the whole thing in the garden. So, there's a couple of different things that they have on the market now. This is a type of pot also, but it's made out of coconut coir. So it's a more recyclable product. People are using coconut coir now as instead of peat moss, because peat moss is a renewable substance, but we're using it so quickly that people are looking now for a different renewable substance. And this one is pretty cool. This is a pot, looks just like peat pot, but it has a definite odor to it. And this is made out of cow manure. So this is a recyclable product. It has a little bit of nutrients in it, and it's pretty cool. Cow manure. Maybe we should look into it for our local chicken manure. There we go. The other thing you can do is use a pot maker, or you could just use a regular glass. But what you do with this one is so easy. You take some newspaper and you wrap it up like this, and you fold it in like that. Now if this was just a glass, that would be it. Since this is a pot maker, I can go ahead and push this on the edge and just twist it like that. And then, voila, I have a little pot that I can fill up with potting soil. And that's really easy, and it didn't cost me anything but the newspaper, which you can always find from a friend, and the potting mix. Now, when you're going to use potting mix for starting seeds, you want to use a very fine potting mix. Quite often it's called seed starter mix, and that means that it doesn't have large pieces of sticks or twigs or anything like that. And that's good because your seeds are very fine too. So these are all things that a homeowner can do, but let me show you what we can use as the greenhouse grower does. Come on back. Hey, Jay.
Hi, Jenny.
So you're seeding. Okay, can you show people what the seeds look like in there? Because that's one of the reasons why you're using that cool tool is the seeds are so small. Look at how teeny tiny these guys are.
Oh, I can show you smaller.
Yeah, I'm sure you can. But what's neat about this is that the way he can go ahead and get the seeds to come down through that little tip. So go ahead, I'll be
different
nice.
size holes on the lid for different size seeds.
Yeah.
And then the speed bumps at the bottom.
Oh, that's right.
Just
They have
slow
little
you
speed
down.
bumps.
Okay.
So you're going to put it on what sides? The teeny side.
For that, I would probably try hole number 2.
All right. So
This little cedar, I think it's like $5 or $6
uh-huh.
from Johnny's, and it's very simple.
Mm-hmm.
One little moving part.
Yes.
It's a very simple little tool, and I find it to work really well.
And also keeps everything clean and away from the potting soil too.
Yeah.
Very cool. Here he already has a lot of neat things in here I want to share with you guys. These are impatiens, and he's growing them so that he can have them in his garden. Now's a great time to get them started. And he's got some tomatoes. Now these he's doing as what they call a germination test to see if the seeds are still good. How old are the seeds on this one?
That's Aunt Ruby's German green tomato,
Uh-huh.
which is a heirloom.
Okay.
And I've been saving seed from that for 3 years now.
Wow.
So I have no way of knowing, because it doesn't come in a package from a company.
Right.
So I tested to see, and actually I got 6 for 6 out of there.
That's really good.
Yeah, I'm happy.
6
with
for
it.
6 is good. I want to show you guys also, this big leaf right here that looks like it's a great big leaf is actually what they call a cotyledon, and that was originally the seed coat of the tomato seed. So what happens when the plant starts germinating, the first thing that happens is the root comes out of the seed and it anchors itself into the soil. So if you move the soil, or if there's a wind or anything like that, the seedling stays put, which is good. And then it starts growing the roots down into the soil to pull up nutrients and water and all. And then this has got all the kind of chlorophyll in it so that it can go ahead and start pushing more nutrients down to the roots. These itty bitty guys right here, those are the first true leaves. So that's really neat. I love it when seeds start germinating like that. It's kind of, this is so cool.
Just to tell you how smart plants are.
Yeah?
I know you've seen this, Jenny. At night, the cotyledons come up and close over top like that.
Right, to preserve all the moisture.
Yep.
Yes. So it's kind of like a little umbrella. I bet somebody
covers
saw
on
that. They saw that and said, hey, that's an umbrella. We can make one of those for ourselves. Okay, see, I'm just sort of like shaking it apart and it's coming apart. Yay, look at that. We have victory! 2 little plants.
Some of them, these are my daughter's plants, and I don't know how many of them she needs, but
Okay.
some of them are yet still a little small. We can get those little guys in, though.
Yeah.
And I'll spot them all out, because if she doesn't want them, I'll take them.
Okay, so this is where it gets a little bit crazy in a sense, but you just have to have a good, calm mind when you're doing this, and
That's for sure.
and a lot of faith, and just don't be in a hurry. I mean, you have to just do a little bit at a
requires
time.
A little bit more patience than the average bear has.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, this is a teeny one. There's hardly any roots to that. So now these are, what size pot is this?
This is a 72 tray,
Okay.
which is pretty good for most anything.
Okay. So basically, the size of the tray is almost like 1 inch by 1 inch by 2 inches.
Yeah, I think they're 1.25 inches.
Inch and a quarter.
Yeah, inch and
Okay.
a quarter
All right.
square, and then they're two inches deep.
So that gives you plenty of room for the roots, but also room for the plants to grow and spread out a little bit.
This will probably spend it's been in here about 126, so it's been in
Okay.
here longer than it should have been. But it'll probably be about 4 to 5 weeks in here.
Okay. And then it could be planted right out into the garden.
And yep. So what you do is you make yourself a little hole like that, and then set the roots in, and then tuck the soil around it. That
Yeah.
happens to be a little slack of soil, so
There we
add a
go.
little more and put it in around them. Thank you.
You're welcome. And what he's not doing is he's not pushing the soil down and getting rid of the oxygen. The soil in every type of pot needs to have a lot of airspace. They call it porosity, so that there's room for the plants to go ahead and have water as well as air. I think they've got 2 right here. Yeah. So now I know that you've got the little dowel thing. What do you call that?
It's a dibbling stick.
Okay, that's what I'm
And it's
using.
nothing more than 3/8 dowel
Okay,
that I sharpen to a dull point,
right.
not to a sharp point, because a sharp point would damage the roots as I did that.
That's true. That's
And
true.
it's easier to work with this way.
Right.
You just tuck them in like that.
So now they're all tucked in,
Real high tech.
real high tech. But you know what? People have been using that for years because it works.
Oh yeah.
Yes. We used fingers. That's
Well,
probably
a
better. Pencil would
The
work.
eraser end of a pencil works.
That
fine,
works too. I've used that before also.
Yeah.
Yeah, because and like I said, you just want to go ahead and set the roots in so that they're well snugged into their new little bed, but not so much that you're pushing the air out of the soil or anything like that. And when you add water, that's going to actually cause the soils to kind of flow down too. So we can go ahead and flood this even though it's not totally filled?
Yeah. Move
All
on,
right,
yeah.
bring it on over. Okay, so let's go ahead and put them over here. All these benches are so nice. Now, this is a watering can that has what they call a rose water. I've heard it called a rose head because it has so many holes, like so many petals. But what happens when the water comes out of that, instead of being a big glush of water, it's like a small rain shower. So I'll let you, as the expert, go ahead and water.
It's more gentle than 30 or 40 pounds of water pressure coming out of a hose.
Exactly.
So what I do is I just water them in like that thoroughly.
Heat at the roots more so than at the top. So at home, one of the things you can do if you only have a few seeds, you can go ahead and put it on the top of the refrigerator, because the refrigerator is always giving off a little bit of heat. And you can go ahead and put like a plastic cover over top of it. Even saran wrap will work to give it like a miniature greenhouse. But so you have this metal right here is the
Well, this is the grounding mat.
Okay.
Because you're going to water this, so it needs to be grounded like
Sure.
that. But the black tape underneath with the stripes, that's the actual heat mat.
Okay.
And then this is just some insulation that I put underneath just to help from losing any of the heat.
Right.
And then at night I pull that plastic cover over.
So it comes over the whole
Close it
thing?
in, which then helps to keep the heat in this area.
Right. Oh, this is wonderful. Wow. And even though it's a chilly day outside, it's so nice on the inside. Oh, I like your path, grass path. This way you're walking on the path and you know where the path is and you're not walking in the garden.
We don't walk in the beds at all.
Okay.
And I don't really worry about the weeds in the path. It's nice to walk on. Except I don't want them to go to seed, and so I'll have to deal with that.
That's
at
true.
some point.
That's true. But you were saying that this is all passive solar.
It is. This is they're called high tunnels now,
Right.
but originally they were called passive solar greenhouses.
Yeah.
The idea being that there's no mechanical inputs here. The only
Okay.
source of heat is the sun,
Right?
and then I do this all by hand. I'm
No
trying to keep-
rototiller?
No rototiller.
Okay.
I work the soil with a broad fork
Uh-huh.
between crops, add compost, and then
Okay.
plant by hand.
So a broad fork, so you're basically just tining into the
Loosens
soil?
up the soil, yeah.
Right, without stepping on it and mushing it
and
down.
not changing the soil profile.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And I see you've got some bok choy that looks like it's ready to
About ready to go,
Ooh. And different lettuces?
Lettuces, celery in the middle.
Oh.
That brings me to an interesting point I'd like to share.
Okay.
It's the caloric exchange ratio.
Okay. How many calories it takes?
How many calories it takes to produce a calorie of food.
Okay.
And the example that you used of a head of lettuce from California
Uh-huh.
to, say, a restaurant in New York City,
Okay.
that's probably one of the highest ratios. It's an extreme example. But it takes 23 calories of energy
Uh-huh.
to send 1 calorie of food in the form of lettuce to a restaurant in New York City. And that caloric ratio is obviously way out of balance. We can't continue to use more calories to produce our food than the calories we get from it.
So sustainability.
Big sustainability
Yes.
issue.
Yeah. A lot of people don't like that word anymore, but I think it really says an awful lot. You're
Well-
spending so much more to move something from one side of the United States to the other side, where you should be able to get it here.
I think the figure is somewhere in the 20% range of our fossil fuel use goes to agriculture.
Yeah.
And of that 20%, the majority of that is in transportation, processing, and packaging. So localizing our food supply is going to become a very important issue in years to come. I like to use with a pocket knife will work.
Okay.
Then we just cut it off at the base, and then some of these leaves here would come off,
Right.
and that's pretty much it. For post-harvest, the quicker you can get this in chilled water, the better. Because
Okay.
no matter what the temperature is outside, there's always, you know this, there's always field heat.
Right. Mhm.
What's called field heat in a crop. So this crop is warmer than the air temperature.
Yes, it is.
So you put this in, you would put this in chilled water
Right.
as quickly as possible.
How long would you leave it in the cool water?
No more than 5 minutes. That's
Okay.
plenty. Yeah.
And then you can go ahead and shake the excess water off.
Excess water off, and then stick it in the fridge.
And there you go. And then have it for dinner
Right.
or have it for lunch.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Jay, for your time and your expertise.
Glad to do
and
it.
we've had a great time. And thank you guys for joining us right here on Delmarva Gardens on Pack 14.